Hey folks, welcome back to another live stream. It feels like it's been a few weeks. It's probably only been 2 weeks, but it's been nice to have a little bit of a break. Yeah, this is Star Wars fan chat, getting to know your fellow Star Wars fan. I'm pretty excited about this week. Yeah, this is I've got someone who I've known on YouTube since about 2012, since he joined YouTube. I was a little bit before that, and yeah, I've had a good friendship ever since. So yeah, known Tony for well over 10 years. If you've been part of YouTube for that long, you probably remember DARTHPHOENIX619. He hasn't done a lot with YouTube over the years. We were just discussing life and children and families and all that kind of gets in the way. Not that it's in the way, but you know what I mean. Yeah, it's just you got to focus on the super duper important things. So let's bring on Tony.
Hello.
Hello there. Thank you for spending some time of your evening with me. It's good. It's good to speak to you again, man. I feel like it's been a while.
It has been. I think it has been a while since we really talked, at least in, not person, but, live, talking to each other. So it's, I thank you once again for giving me the opportunity to come in and join you and, just talk Star Wars. It's been too long for me. I don't get a chance to talk Star Wars very often with the YouTube community and other people that I've known over the years.
There's a lot of us still out there that are still doing it after all these years. Like you're saying before, you started your YouTube channel around it was January 2012.
2012, I started. Like I was telling you, my daughter was 6 months old. I think I had been collecting for about a year and a half, maybe at that point. And I was like, you know what? I want to get on YouTube. And there's people like yourself and other, early YouTubers, some of them, like you said, still on, that really motivated me to just try it out. And, I did. And I did it for quite a few years. But yeah, definitely life has not gotten in the way, like you said. But, it gets a little more challenging and whatnot. And, maybe I'll make a return. Maybe once my daughter goes off to college or whatnot, and I'll have more free time. But, and of course, my YouTube is still active. DARTHPHOENIX619 for those who are not familiar with my channel. And, I still get some views, especially a lot of my Sith action figure reviews. They'll still get a lot of good traction, which is nice. I need to go on there and see how many, what it's looking like, but I haven't been on there in a while to look at some of my videos, but I still get some comments here and there.
Yeah, it's funny there's those sort of select few videos that even I have that people still watch. I remember doing it was like a top 20 action figures in 2012, I reckon, or 2013 even, and that still gets comments and views every now and then. Not so many comments these days because it is old, but it still gets views. It's just how many figures have been out since then? It's ridiculous.
It is. It's crazy, especially some of like I mentioned, my Darth Revan. I'll get an occasional comment here and there and whatnot on the old school one, and just or Darth Plagueis, things like that. That I guess many people, I know you do quite a few reviews of, or you go back and review a figure that you did before, because not many people are doing more recent reviews of older, especially 3 3/4 inch action figures. So so it's like you got me and other people that did some of those reviews back in the days to rely on, but not so many new people doing newer reviews, up to date reviews of older figures.
Yeah, which is kind of why I sort of set about to do it, as well as just being able to appreciate older items in my collection that I probably don't give that attention to as much as I did when they were new. There's the whole recency bias thing. You sort of pick up a new figure and you're like, oh, this is cool, but you sort of forget about the stuff that's been sitting on your shelf for 5 years. Yeah,
definitely.
So your collecting habits are still continuing. You're still collecting. How are you and what are you collecting these days?
So it's mostly still Star Wars, and my fondness and my priority is still 3 3/4 inch. So TVC, I tend to go pretty much all in still. I collect Star Wars Black Series. I've kind of dialed it down with some of my Black Series figures. I don't feel the necessity to have everything out there anymore like I did when they first started. And then Lego, Star Wars Lego. That's probably my big thing, as some of you know. And I get most of the sets out there, especially the play sets and the vehicles. Those that not so much other things like helmets and whatnot, but and I still dabble in a couple other things like Star Wars Hot Wheels and things like that. I'll still buy the occasional character car and a little Marvel Legends still, mostly X-Men and some retro TMNT. I think I mentioned that to you. I've been collecting quite a bit of the Playmates Classic Collection, because that's my childhood, was the TMNT. Yeah. So, but mostly Star Wars. So I'm still, some of you who know me, I'm on Instagram. I post there more. I'm definitely more active on Instagram, and it's DARTHPHOENIX619 as well. So, I'll post the occasional haul or purchase or whatever, but I still very much into collecting, love it. And, no space. I'm at the point now where things are in the garage, which I hate, but it is what it is. I never thought I'd get there, but I did. So yeah. And I recently maybe not recently, but like a year ago, I finally took out all my 3 3/4 inch stuff and displayed it again. So
awesome. Yeah. I mean, how long ago was it that it was 2017 when I came and visited you and got to see your collection room in person? It was definitely a highlight of that trip. And it was so good to just walk around and see this collection that I'd seen in videos and photos for all those years. And I can only imagine how much it's changed.
Oh yeah. From 2017. Wow, that was a while ago, Jesse.
7 years, man. 7 years.
7 years. So yeah, so definitely a lot has changed. And it's just, especially with the Lego and just a lot more Black Series here and there. And I've had to really, like I said, just really things that I had before on display that I've gone in the garage. A lot of my other Lego, I collect other Lego brands, not just Star Wars, and that all had to go in the garage. And then all my other kind of little sublines of different fandoms that all went in the garage, because I just wanted to make more room for Star Wars. So there's definitely a lot, like 90% now of my room is Star Wars for the most part.
Perfect. That's the way we like it.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got my Star Wars room here. This is nothing but Star Wars in here, and then I've got little bits of other stuff bleeding through the rest of the house, which the other half may not like it much, but she tolerates it. She tolerates it. She's
My wife has yet to let me in the last 12, 13 years, and maybe once Dahlia moves out, I'll be able to convince her to let me get at least one more room, and I'll go nuts if I'm able to bleed my collection into at least one of the other rooms upstairs.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So before we get into the questions, just want to say a big thank you to Brian, aka Metal Jedi, for joining as a member, being part of the crew. I really do appreciate your support. He was on the episode a couple of weeks ago, so if you missed that, go check that out. Great dude, great conversation. Been awesome getting to know Brian. Super nice guy. Go follow him on Instagram too. A long-time friend here, Fallen Jedi, here once again. Appreciate you tuning in as always. And Linda from here in Adelaide is here in the chat too. So appreciate everyone coming and hanging out and chatting along. It's always a good time when people like to play along with the questions and stuff like that. So you did come prepared with some answers, which is always cool. It's always nice that you like to take the time. That's why I like to send the questions out beforehand. Gives people there so they're not thinking on the spot too much. But I guess the first one, what are your first memories of Star Wars?
So I did not watch Star Wars as a kid. It was much later in life. Well, not much later, but I remember maybe little snippets here and there as a kid, things that would come on TV. But it really wasn't until 97 when the special editions came out where I finally went to go see them. Like that was like literally the first time I really saw a whole movie. And of course it was some friends that were like very shocked that I had never seen Star Wars. They were like, oh, you've got to see Star Wars. So I went with a couple friends. We saw New Hope in theaters and blown away, loved it. And then, shortly thereafter, we saw Empire and Return of the Jedi. So, granted that was 97. So it was pretty fresh in my mind. And of course, Phantom Menace came out in 99. And it was just like, yeah, it was just, so those were my earliest memories. And I didn't collect at that time. I was in college. I didn't think about collecting. Other priorities in college, of course.
Yeah,
Living it up, having a good time. I met Nancy around that time, so it wasn't about collecting at that point. But it was just yeah. Those are my earliest memories. Just really loving it and enjoying it and immersing myself in Clone Wars and the animated, the Genndy Tartakovsky stuff. And so I was really happy that I finally got to see it, and I was just like, oh my god, I missed out the first 17, 18 years of my life. So those are my earliest memories of Star Wars for sure.
It's funny. I still do meet the occasional person today that it's just like, yeah, I've never seen a Star Wars movie, and it's I don't know. I guess if it's not on the radar, if it's not something that's ingrained in the family, or something that's, yeah, I don't know whether it's a generational thing, whether it just didn't grab certain types of generation. So that then, like yourself, as a kid, it just wasn't a thing until you were a bit older and you were able to go ride the wave then. But yeah, when people say they've never seen a Star Wars movie, but they still know so much about it, it's incredible.
Yeah, exactly. Growing up, my parents were from Mexico. They didn't speak English. They had no interest. So, there was no, like you said, that didn't exist in our family. It just wasn't a thing. And, but yeah, I mean, recently I met some people at work, that my age, if not older. They're like, yeah, I've never seen Star Wars. I was like, oh, wow. It's like, at this point, you're in your 40s, 50s. There's no excuse. I mean, watch the film. You've got plenty of opportunities to watch it now. Maybe not so much when I was a kid, for sure. But now it's like, it's easy to just really, but, you got to have that interest too, a little bit of interest to really, like my daughter, she's seen like a couple of the films, but she has no interest. And I hope as she gets older, she might. And my wife's seen them all, but she didn't see them at all before either until she met me. So
yeah,
definitely, there are people out there still. Surprises me, but they're out there.
You can't always force it on the kids either. Well, you can, but generally they get to teenage years and they want to do stuff that mum and dad think aren't cool. Like they're just like, I want to do stuff against what they like. Yeah,
exactly. Right now she's on a Spider-Man kick. That's on her. Like she's like, cool. Can we watch the Tobey Maguire ones? I was like, yes, let's watch them. I hadn't seen them in a while, so we went watch 1, 2, and 3. Right now we're watching the Tom Holland ones. She wanted to skip the Garfield ones. I'm like, all right, we got to watch the Garfield ones too. She's like, okay, but that's on her. It's like she wanted to do it. She was interested. So we'll see. Maybe one of these days it'll be, let's watch Star Wars. Oh my God. So we'll see.
Got to watch the Garfield ones. I know I watched them again recently because I don't know, I really like Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man and Peter Parker, and I think the second movie would be better if there was a third. I think the fact that it sort of ends, it's kind of like it doesn't get that closure to the story. It needed
to be a trilogy. It was my least favorite so far of the the different versions of Spider-Man, but I'm willing to revisit it with her, but I agree with you. I think they definitely needed a third film to continue that story, especially after that end credit scene and whatnot. So I was like, too bad.
Second question is, what is your favorite Star Wars film?
All right, so for the most part, I would say Return of the Jedi. Definitely Return of the Jedi. Followed very closely by A Phantom Menace. So, and I think, I know it tends to be, well, nowadays there's definitely a lot more love for the prequel trilogy than there was when I first got into Star Wars and whatnot, especially for Phantom Menace itself. But, it's funny. Return of the Jedi is definitely my favorite. Just so much in that film that I love, the speeder bike chase, the sail barge scene at the Sarlacc pit, really like Jabba's palace and whatnot, and the different aliens that we see. Of course, the final duel at the end. It's just so much goodness in Return of the Jedi, and being able to see that in the big screen, that really made an impact on me and whatnot. And But but I've seen Phantom Menace probably the most of any of the Star Wars films. I can watch that.
Wow.
Yeah,
Cool.
but it's so it's like Return's still my favorite, but Phantom Menace is just, for me, it's just a lot more rewatchable. It was just like, seeing that in '99, it was more modern and whatnot. And Darth Maul is fantastic. So I think that, and just the music too. So I can watch that over and over and over again. And if I'm bored, I can just be like, all right, let me put on some Phantom Menace. I'll skip to the pod racer scene, the Duel of the Fates, and I'm just happy. That's usually my go-to. Like, I need some Star Wars in the background. I'm going to put on some Phantom Menace. But
it's just a fun start to adventure film, really. Like, it's the beginning. It kicks it all off, and there's a lot of fun. There's a little bit in the middle of the Senate stuff, but you can kind of just wash that over, and it's all part of the galaxy. It's all part of it. But between the pod race and the duels and the starfighters at the end, like it's all good. It
is, yeah. Even Jar Jar going at it, against the droids. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with Jar Jar. And my wife, I would probably say that's her favorite Phantom Menace. And she's not a big Star Wars fan, but we're always, quoting the battle droids and Jar Jar at that, the steady, like that's our thing. It's like steady, like a random conversation. So it was good fun. It is good fun, I should say. It's still good fun. Yeah. So but definitely Return of the Jedi, really followed closely by Phantom Menace.
Yeah, I'll rewatch Return of the Jedi throughout the week. Just getting the Jabba's Palace playset, so Boba Fett's Palace playset this week, and setting that up and having that all on display, and rejigging my sail barge and having all that together, and just looking at it and just, oh man, I was just like, yeah, I've got to go sit and watch the movie now. It's just, I was just in a big Return of the Jedi mood after that, and I'm just like, this is good. This is where it's at.
Yeah, the place looks fantastic. I was watching your vids, and I was like, man, I'm jealous I didn't get it. Maybe sooner down the line, but it's I usually don't do play sets for action figures, because I do Lego, so it's like, it's hard to do both. Like I have my Jabba's Palace in Lego, I have my Boba Fett's throne room in Lego, so it's always hard for me to do both, Hasbro and Lego play sets because money wise, but it looks great. Your setup is great.
You're scratching that itch with Lego. You don't need
it. For exactly.
That's a nice way to keep it balanced. That's why I don't think Black Series necessarily needs to go full into world building. Like a little bit, perhaps, like little bits. Like I like some of the little accessories they put with some of the characters, like Cal Kestis. They had a deluxe Cal Kestis that came with one of the little boglings from the game, and Omega came with a little pet thing from season 1. It's like that. That's little things like that are cool. But yeah, leave the big play sets and that and vehicles and stuff to the TVC. I think that's where I find my balance.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's just it would be just very pricey, and just space with the Black Series. That would be the biggest issues if they decided to go that route.
The message for you.
I know Santiago. That's my nephew. Hi, Santi. Awesome. He's a Star Wars fan. He enjoys Star Wars, so
awesome.
Well, yeah. So he's on here watching. That's cool.
Awesome. Hopefully enjoys
hear from you, Santi. Young generation right there. So
awesome.
He's got some Lego and stuff. So that's awesome.
Awesome. Keeping the Star Wars alive.
There you go. Not so much in my household, but at least in one of my other family members' households.
That's good. Favorite character?
So for the longest time, it was Fett. It was the Fett Man or Maul. Like I really went back and forth between those two. But you know what? Over the last couple of years, it's Asajj Ventress. I've always loved Asajj Ventress. I love Asajj, and just after reading Dark Disciple, seeing, even recently on the Bad Batch and whatnot, and just how she's really fleshed out recently. I've always been intrigued by Asajj, her look and whatnot, and now just as time goes on, she's really become my favorite character. So I'm very excited. Hopefully, we'll get more of her in the future. I'm assuming we will. But aesthetically, the voice, the lightsabers, what she's done, her history, very intricate, very detailed, just so much going on with Asajj. She's definitely my favorite right now.
Yeah, once that Dark Disciple book was, firmly ingrained in my brain, it was just like she became such a deeper character. They're the characters I kind of like. They're the characters that skirt between the good and the bad. There's they have their issues with good and bad, and then they sort of go through their redemption arcs, like Anakin Skywalker obviously being number one, and Kylo Ren. Asajj Ventress is definitely up there. I think we're about to find out, once Bad Batch is done anyway, I think we're about to find out that we're going to get a little bit more. We're going to get something else, I think.
I hope so. I really do. I think it is coming too. Of course, we don't know how, but my preference, of course, would be live action. But I'll take whatever. And I just really want her to have a happy ending. That's what I'm hoping. I hope I get to see that in my lifetime. Hopefully, because she's just been through so much, and just it's been great to see her story over the last, oh my God, it's been 20 years now, over 20 years now. So 2003, I think she was when she debuted on the Genndy series, and so it's just amazing that we've been able to see just how she's developed as a character, in the last 20 or so years. So we'll see. Hopefully, I really want her.
Who could you see playing Asajj in live action?
Oh God, I never even thought about that. I don't know. To tell the truth, I have to think about that. It's a tough one, and especially because of her voice, you would want someone to really be able to do the voice. So, I don't know off the top of my head. I mean, there's a couple actors, I don't know their names, but I couldn't see them as Asajj. But I don't know. I have to think about that one.
It is a tricky one. Yeah.
And they got to be able to pull off the bald look. If they decide so,
unless they pick up the story later, and she's got a little bit of the short hair, who knows?
Who knows? Yeah, I don't know who would be able to do it. So
I don't know. What does everyone else think? Drop a comment in the chat, or
let us know.
Who do you think would be a good? Who do you think would be a good actor to play Asajj Ventress? So the next question is favorite background character / alien.
So if we're talking background in the sense that they don't say anything or do anything, I really like Man. Just his design, his look. It's just there holding a skeleton or whatever. His action figures my favorite. It's just one of my favorite action figures in my collection. So I really like a Man. If we're talking more of a background character with lines and more just involved, less supporting, it would be Embo. I love Embo. Embo's, in my opinion, is one of the coolest bounty hunters and whatnot, and aliens. I really like his look. And Charlize Theron. You know what? That might work. That might work.
That's the bold thing with she did Furiosa.
Yeah, Furiosa. Yeah, and I can see her playing off the voice too. So that's a good one. I like Charlize Theron. But so Embo definitely, if it's more of like a, not necessarily background, but more supporting type role, I really like Embo. I hope we get to see him in live action. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it'd be awesome.
If Dave Filoni has anything to do with it, I think we'll see Embo at some point.
I hope so.
I think he did the voice for Embo.
Yes, I think you're right. I think he did.
The audible sounds.
The sounds that he makes. Yes, I'm pretty sure he did. I'm almost positive he did.
That's why he gave him a pet wolf.
And a hat. Not necessarily a cowboy hat, but a hat, nonetheless.
It was a hat, yeah. A hat / snowboard.
Yeah, snowboard. Boomerang, all kinds of sorts of things.
He's a great character. Do you have a favorite droid? And this is a question that gets harder as Star Wars goes on, because we just get so many more droids. Just thinking we got the trailer for Star Wars Outlaws this week too, and the commando droid that's wearing the jacket. Like,
oh yes,
that's going to be a cool addition, I think.
I think so too. And he's just so and he's super tall. It seems like, I don't know if I don't know the name of the female, protagonist, but like he looks so tall too. He's like imposing, and with the trench coat, yeah, he's really cool looking. I'm really excited about a Black Series action figure and TVC for that guy. For me, and it still kind of hasn't been dethroned, and I know a lot of people really like, is HK47. You know,
yeah,
it's just I mean, Knights of the Old Republic, playing that game back in the day, and hearing him, I just loved hearing him. You know, Meatbag and all that other good stuff, and just his attitude and kill, and he just like, I tend to gravitate towards those type of droids. K2SO, Mr. Bones, like just more like kind of
Chopper.
Chopper, exactly. You know, I really like L3 too. I know a lot of people don't, but just her sassiness and whatever. But it's just HK, and I was so excited about the Revan 2-pack that we got, the Galaxy of Heroes and the TVC, because that was just a figure that I didn't have, and I wasn't able to build, and crazy expensive and whatnot. So I was really excited to finally get them in plastic form. So, but
so you did get that pack?
I did get that pack. Oh yeah, I definitely wanted it, and not so much for the Revan. The Jedi Revan is cool and whatnot, but I really wanted just HK. I want HK47. And I have bits of pieces of HK50. It's 50, right?
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So it'd be nice to complete them, but for me, it's all about HK47. So I'm really excited. If they do end up remastering and redoing Knights of the Old Republic, I'm going to look forward to playing that again and getting some HK47 back in my life.
That'll be awesome.
It would be it.
She was the deaf assassin in John Wick. I don't recall. I've only seen the first 2 John Wicks, and I've only seen the first one more than once, I think. I need to fix that. I know, like, I feel like a terrible person for not having caught up with John Wick, but
I haven't seen any of them, Jesse. So that's also been on my wife's my wife and I's watch list. But like I said, it's hard to do.
My Netflix watch list is I could spend a day scrolling through that thing and still not choose anything.
Pretty much same.
So if I've changed this question a little bit, favorite planet, but just to sort of say, if there was one planet in Star Wars you had to go live out the remainder of your days, where would it be?
So that actually kind of still matches up with my answer, because it's Scarif. And I mean, Scarif is just, why not? Why wouldn't you want to live on Scarif? It's not volcanoes and all water and all desert. It's like, it's the beach and it's beautiful. It's, it's just when I saw Rogue One and just seeing Scarif, I'm like, oh my God, that place looks amazing. That's where I want to be right now and retire and whatnot. So definitely
recline on the beach under a couple of palm trees with a blue milk.
There you go. Blue milk.
Maybe something a little bit more, something a little bit stronger to take the edge off, perhaps.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what they put in their blue milk in Star Wars, in the Star Wars world, but little blue milk with a kick for sure. And I just remember when I saw the trailer for Rogue One and seeing Scarif and the stormtroopers on the beach. I'm like, oh, that looks awesome. And my wife would love to retire there. That's for sure too. So, it's still my favorite planet. Outside of that, I've always liked. Oh my God, I can't remember. Coruscant. I like big cities. I like enjoying nightlife. I like being able to go.
City lights.
Yeah, just the citywide, just definitely not the lower depths, of course, not up, So that would probably be my second choice, only because I really enjoy the nightlife, the city nightlife. So.
Greedo and a Speedo is talking about Ruby Rose.
Oh, Ruby Rose! She definitely has the look for it. I agree with that, especially because she's done the hairstyle, with this.
Yeah.
Where was she else? She was in some other things recently. Do you know who she is, Jesse?
Yeah, because she's an Australian. I can't think of what else she's been in recently. She's been in quite a few things now.
She has been.
Nothing that's sort of jumping to mind straight away. think it might have been in Pacific Rim, perhaps. I'm not sure.
The second one.
Yeah, I don't even think I've seen the second one.
She wasn't in the first one because I've seen the first one. That's one of my favorite movies of all time as well. So, yeah, she was in some other things, and she usually has the hair, kind of like she has the look for Ventress, I think. Yeah. So she might work too. I did like the Theron choice though, that Charlize Theron. Yeah.
Orange is the New Black. Okay, yeah. I never watched it. I started watching it, but it just didn't grab me. So. No, this is a question I always like asking. This is it brings out a different choice every time. If you could have a lightsaber, whose would it resemble, or what would the design sort of look like, and what color would your blade be?
So regarding the design, it would be curved. Not just it's
Dooku style,
Ventress style. I just remember seeing that in Attack of the Clones. It's just, to me, it's just like, it's just different. It's got a sex appeal to it. I love it. It's just it just looks really sleek, and I don't know. There's just something about it, and just some elegance, some style to it. And then so something similar to that. And then green's my favorite color, and I would probably go green, but I would like to have like a darker hue to it, like an emerald forest type green. Nice. I don't think we've really seen anything like that in Star Wars, that dark. So that would be pretty cool. So I don't think I would have any sort of like embellishments on the actual hilt itself. I'd probably want to really keep it sleek and clean and just really shiny, like Dooku's and whatnot. So, and with the dark green, that would be nice. That would be nice to have.
I haven't really considered that, like different shades of different colors of lightsaber blades in Star Wars. Like you sort of see it a little bit, I guess. Like Ahsoka's Shoto is more of a limey sort of yellow, perhaps.
Yeah, I agree with that. And we've seen some magenta style colors, I think, like in the expanded universe, maybe in comics, like just like Mara Jade's almost has that slight sort of magenta pinkish. I remember seeing in some comics, but definitely not green and not so much blue, like a really dark or like a navy blue or baby bluish maybe. But yeah, you're right. We really don't see much outside of just a couple of the
films and stuff. But yeah, I seem thinking, I suppose Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati from Ahsoka, they both had that sort of deep orange, almost red.
Almost red, yeah.
And then we're going to get some oranges and yellows in the Acolyte by the looks of it too. So
yeah, that I'm pretty excited about to see. Seeing that yellow and the orange, yeah, that was pretty cool.
The world is it's expanding. It's expanding.
It is. Let's put some emerald green in there sooner or later.
That'd be cool. And I like that. I like that idea. There's a couple of questions that I like asking as well. What moment in Star Wars makes you happy?
So for me, it's going back to Phantom Menace, when towards the end of the movie, and we all know the scene, sends chills, makes me happy, makes me giddy. You got the hangar doors open, and there's Darth Maul hooded, and through the fates, and you get Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan ready to handle it. We'll handle this, and that scene still gives me chills to this day, and it just makes me smile ear to ear. I love it. It definitely it's probably my favorite scene in the all Star Wars. TV, movies, and it's just seeing that in theaters, and it gets brings a smile to my face every single time I see it. It brings a smile to my face. That's my go. Like I was saying before, background noise. I usually go right there. We're starting right here. Yeah,
it's funny that they showed that scene. It's of the time, but they showed that scene in the trailer, like the trailer for the Phantom Menace, like it has Darth Maul doing that, and it was like these days that would not be in a trailer. Like that would be a save it for the film moment, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, and the fact that even though we saw it in the trailer, it still sent chills down my spine when I saw it in theaters.
It's still a spectacle. Yeah.
Yeah, it is, regardless. And it's like it comes off, and and they start going at it, and it's just. But yeah, you're right. They would, I would hope they wouldn't include things like that anymore in trailers. Usually they don't. Sometimes you feel like you get the whole movie in a trailer, but something like that scene, yeah, I could have only imagined had they not shown it in trailers, and we were able to see that for the first time. It would have probably even been more mind blowing.
I wonder if I'm remembering correctly or not, but I even think the trailer for the Phantom Menace even had Obi-Wan's elongated like no from when Qui-Gon gets stabbed.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember. I don't.
I have to find it. Unless that was from something that's come out recently, or whether it was in there. I just seem to remember it was the climax of the trailer, and it ends with Obi-Wan like screaming no. Yeah. And the soundtrack had a track on it called Qui-Gon's Noble End, and it's like
good thing I did not check the soundtrack listing back in 1999.
Yeah. I got the soundtrack until after, but yeah, it was just like, oh wow, you really put that out there, didn't you?
Avoid soundtrack and episode titles is what I always say. Yeah.
What's a moment in Star Wars that makes you sad?
So for me, it's Rogue One. It's the end of the film. And for those who I'm assuming everyone's seen Rogue One if you're watching, but it was definitely unexpected, the deaths of all the characters, and it's funny because the first time when I went to go see it in theaters, I actually had an anxiety attack, and I had to actually walk out the theater. Yeah, and it was like it just coming out of nowhere. I wasn't sure, maybe because of what was happening on the screen at the time or whatever, but it just all of a sudden just came in, and it was rushed, and I actually ended up leaving. I ended up not watching the ending of Rogue One until later. So, but once because I was watching, it was like the first. I forget who was the first one to go. Maybe K2SO, and then
K2, yeah,
and then maybe after that, Cheerwood, maybe, or Buddy, but yeah,
Buddy, yeah.
And then I just had to walk out, and then being able to finally see it, and then then I got to see what happened to the rest of the characters. It's sad. Rogue One's actually one of my favorite films as well. It's top 3 for sure, probably my 3rd favorite. And it's heartbreaking. I usually don't. It's hard for me to get sad or teary-eyed. My daughter always makes fun of me. She goes, I've never seen you cry, Dad. And like for me, it's very hard for me to get like. To cry, especially in a film or whatnot. Misty-eyed here and there, but Rogue One definitely pulls at the heartstrings, and just see, because I love all those characters. It's such a great cast, just wonderful characters, especially Cheerwit and Baze, and just to see them go and their sacrifice, and that definitely pulls at the heartstrings for sure. So
yeah. It's a great movie just as a movie, not even as a Star Wars movie. Like, if you're just watching that for its merits as a film, like, it stirs up a lot throughout different moments of the film. I had a moment, I don't know, maybe 6-12 months ago. It's one movie, Rogue One's a movie I try not to watch too much because I love it so much that I don't want it to become like, there is so much thing as too much of a good thing. I don't want to, I like having the emotional experience when I watch it. So like to sort of go back and rewatch it, not super frequently. I don't know. You're almost promising like that effect. And I reckon it was probably 6 months ago. And it was the moment where Saw is showing Jin the message, the hologram of her father. And it's just quiet, almost like quiet before the storm, and the music. And it's just, the words he's saying to Jin, and she's having this, realization that he's been living for her all these years still. And it's just like, it's such a powerful moment. And I got goosebumps and started, I teared up a little bit.
Yeah, I agree for sure. It's probably the one besides Rise of Skywalker that I've seen the least of. I agree with you for that same reason that you gave. You just like, you don't really want it to after watching it so many that it loses that effect. And I don't think it ever would, but it's a special movie, and I think it warrants an occasional view of it here and there. Not so, and like I said, it's one of my favorites, top 3, but I don't like putting it on unless it's like almost like a special occasion, I guess you can say.
Yeah.
For that same reason, I totally agree with what you're saying.
I feel there's a few movies like that. It's just Interstellar's another one that is that's just, if I'm not going to sit there and ingratiate myself in the movie, it's like I'm not going to watch it. Like I need to put the phone down. I need to focus on this movie and watch it while I'm watching it. And it's just there's a few movies I like that are like that. But Interstellar, Rogue One, they're the two that sort of really spring to mind right now for that reason.
It's a beautiful movie. The cinematography, there's so much in it to see. Not just like, of course you have everything that's happening in front, but all the background and the details and the sets. Like you really want to appreciate and not really miss anything as you're watching Rogue One. And I agree with that. And it's just, it's such a great movie. That's definitely my favorite Disney era film to date, for sure.
I'm pretty sure it's the same. I'm just double checking. I'm pretty sure it's the same cinematographer for those two films.
Oh yeah, that would make sense.
I think he did Interstellar because Greg Fraser. He's an Australian. He does a lot of work. He's done both the Dune movies. He did The Creator with Gareth Edwards last year. The Batman, Rogue One. Yeah, Rogue One. Maybe not Interstellar. I'm just double checking now because bear with me, folks.
No worries. And I'm seeing my nephew here. I know it's you, Santi. I know it's you. I definitely know. I recognize your name right away.
How old is he?
Let's see. He is 10, if I'm not mistaken, going on to 11. So or 9 going on to 10, one of the two. So I have like 20 nephews. Sorry, Santi, it's hard to keep track of your ages. But I definitely know it's you, buddy.
It's a different cinematographer for Interstellar, but definitely within that circle of creators like your Chris Nolans, your Denis Villeneuve, and all these modern masterpiece creators that are just doing so many good films at the moment. And Greg Fraser, amazing cinematography.
Dune was I haven't seen the second one, but the first one, visually, great looking movie. Yes.
Yeah, some of the shots in the Batman. I need to rewatch the Batman. I probably haven't watched that in 12 months. I might do that this afternoon.
I haven't seen the Batman. I have to watch the Batman. That's on.
It's good. I think. Yeah, I think you'll like it. I think it's a good movie. But back to Star Wars. What's your favorite quote?
All right, so I have one that I think I haven't heard anyone else say it's their favorite.
Cool.
And it's from New Hope. Well, maybe you have, since you've done a lot of these fans. Who is more foolish, the fool or the fool who follows him? Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh, okay, yeah. No one else has said that one yet.
No one has said that one. As always, just every time I hear that, because just thinking of real life and people that I've dealt with over the years, and the job that I am currently, working with certain people, it's like, it's like when you follow people who make poor decisions, in my opinion, that makes you more foolish and more, can't find the word right now, but to me, it's like, you're in a worse situation than the person who's actually making the poor decisions because you're choosing to follow this person. So in my eyes, that makes you foolish. And just so when Obi-Wan, when I first heard that, I was like, oh my God, that is so true. And it's like, you really got to think for yourself. You really got to not let yourself be impacted by the decisions that other people make, or sometimes, and we see it a lot, unfortunately, in the Star Wars community, where people just kind of, jump on that bandwagon of either, hating on something because everybody else is hating on it, or complaining, or doing these things that you feel like, oh, I need to get this done, or I need this to happen because I see other people doing this, and it's not always the best choice. So to me, it's like, gotta think for yourself. Don't make the same decisions that foolish people are making, because you're going to be in a worse situation, in my opinion. And so that's always resonated with me, that quote.
Yeah, you're taking someone else's accountability for their bad decisions, and you're piling it on yourself, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're adding weight and pressure to the shoulders of your own life when you're doing that. And it's just, yeah.
So that's always one that really stuck out to me. And then, Cheer It, I'm Blind. I like that one because it's funny. On a lighter note, that always cracks me up.
that is such a wonderful short little moment from an otherwise pretty serious film. Like,
exactly.
You're kidding me. I'm blind. So
it was like, wow, that was perfect.
So, that was a good quote. I haven't had anyone say that one yet, but it is a good one. Is that part of your sort of favorite life message that you get out of Star Wars, or do you find something else that sort of motivates you?
For sure, that one resonates. I think the bigger picture, another quote that I also like is, never tell me the odds, because when it comes down to it, life is so random. We don't know the odds. We don't know. We can say to ourselves the chances of something happening or not happening are high or low. You just don't know. And in life, I think sometimes you just really need to take risks. You really need to really power through. We see it in Star Wars all over: rebellion, hope, people fighting for a cause where some might feel like, why? It's a lost cause. Why are you doing this? It's like we have a small group of people rebelling against an empire and whatnot. And when it comes down to it, if you don't try, if you don't take the risks, if you don't make those changes in life, you're never going to know. Maybe the odds are stacked against you, but there's the there's the chances of it working or succeeding. And you're just never going to know unless you try and make that effort. So that's something I've really enjoyed hearing in Star Wars. And I really try to, especially now that I'm older, I'm in my mid-40s. And as I get older, I feel like I need to start thinking less about what can happen, what's bad, or if it's, nothing's impossible really. And, I've made changes in my life, my career, and things like that. I'm trying new things. I'm doing new things. I'm open to doing new things. And we just kind of go from there. If it works out, awesome. And if it doesn't, well, I tried, I made an effort. And if, it can be a learning experience, definitely. So I think that's also another thing that I've really taken from Star Wars.
Yeah, that's probably up there with one of my favorites. I mean, I've got it tattooed on my arm.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Some of the odds. And it's also more so about taking those risks despite what other people say or tell you to do. Like, you don't always have to live up to everyone else's expectations for your life. Like, you got to forge those paths on your own. You got to make those choices. You've got to, like you said, you got to take those risks. And
you do. I think really about, and maybe it's age too, but it really care less about what people think and or say or of me and whatnot.
I think it's definitely age and life experience. I think because I'm getting more and more like that. Like, I'm 36 now, so I'm getting more and more to that point where it's just like, you know what, I'm just doing this for me. This is for me and the people I keep around me, close friends, family, loved ones. I don't care what so and so down the street thinks. I'm just living the way I want to live.
Exactly. And I tell people, I tell Dahlia, I'm like, sometimes you have to be selfish. You just really do. When it comes down to it, you've got to worry about your own mental health, your own physical health, and you've got to think about you first before you think about anyone else, and think about your priorities. And as you get older, right now she's kind of like, well, what about this person, that person? Well, when it comes down to it, you really got to think about what makes you happy. And like you
Yes.
said, I'm here for me, my family, and moving forward and whatnot. So, it's okay to be a little bit selfish.
Yeah, I think you do. You learn that as you get older too. You learn that there are, very broad differences between selfishness and selflessness.
Yes.
And to be selfish isn't an all-consuming bad thing. It's, you've got to be, and completely giving yourself to others, being selfless isn't always, good. That can have a lot of negative effects on yourself if you're giving everything to others.
Exactly.
You learn that they're not totally, opposite sides of the spectrum. They can sort of merge together, and you can achieve a little bit of selfishness and selflessness
Yes,
at the
of
same
course. I
time.
agree with that. Yeah,
Find that
definitely.
balance. It's like the Force.
It's like the Force. Yes, there we go. Back to Star Wars, Jesse. I love it.
Yeah, we're gonna find the balance. Before we go on, I've got a question here from Nicholas H from Malaysia. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate it. What are your hopes for the future Rey movie if it gets made? I think it will get made. Who would you want the villain to be? I don't know. Have you got any thoughts? We'll go with you, Tony.
Yeah, I mean, for a future Rey, I hope that we kind of see, because we know we didn't really get a chance to see it on film. That new Jedi Order. Rey being able to train new Jedi. That would be great. I hope Finn's involved somehow. We get Finn's story. I really did like Poe. Great. I mean, I don't mind continuing that story from the sequel trilogy for sure. So, but definitely, I want to see something along the lines of a new Jedi Order. And that's for the villain. I mean, I would want someone completely new. For me, I want something brand new. Be it Sith, not Sith. I want a new villain, a new threat to the galaxy, something like that. Just keep it a little bit more fresh. And I think with the sequel trilogy, I know some people weren't very happy because we were treading, and then there was, of course, that fan service. So, we can continue Rey's story, but let's bring some new things. Like, I know a lot of people don't like Last Jedi, but that brought some new ideas, perspectives, and I actually did like that. So I want some fresh new ideas, fresh new characters in a Rey movie. I hope it gets made. I mean, I hope it gets done, and I want to see it for sure.
Oh, I want to see it forge new ground. I want to, sort of, for what the sequel trilogy did, it was a lot of repetition of what had come before. But George has always said, that Star Wars is very much repeating. It's like poetry. He's always said that. But I think in order to push forward, it needs to break the chain a little bit. It needs to do something different. It needs to, forge new ground. And the whole thing about the student becoming, taking over from, which is one of Yoda's last lessons in The Last Jedi. He says, what does he say? He says, the burden of true master is they are what we grow beyond.
Yes.
And seeing Rey be able to pick up and do what Luke couldn't quite do. Luke was able to do what Anakin couldn't do, and Rey was able to then pick up and do what Luke couldn't do. So then, you always, it's like any sort of parent, they expect their child to end up better than they were.
Exactly.
So I think it just needs to forge new ground, see some new stuff. See the state of the galaxy after, basically having an entire, maybe send it back to the Stone Age a little bit.
Yes.
You always talk about, you hear about, Earth going through an apocalypse and, send us back to the Stone Age and, start again. Let's see what that looks like. Let's see the Jedi go back to their roots of focus on the Force and, more about the ideologies and religion rather than the dogma and the books, keeping by the books and sticking by the rules, and let them be spiritually guided more so than what they think is politically right.
Yes, I agree with that, and it would be great to see a growing threat. So not so much something that when we got the new trilogy, it was really just kind of already established. Kylo Ren, he's the First Order and whatnot. So it'd be great to see kind of the beginnings of a new threat and how that just kind of grows as I'm assuming it'd be like a trilogy, hopefully. But it'd be great to see that just okay, it's everything's silent, everything's good in the world, and then you have something going on in the background. Kind of going back to Phantom Menace a little bit, with Sidious and whatnot. But that would be kind of cool to see too.
So that's a good question, Nicholas. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. This is a good little chat. Fallen Jedi says, I love race. I'm a bit biased. Really hope the movie gets made. Ian's here. Hope you're doing well, mate. Good to hear from you. I don't want another Empire or First Order. Definitely not another Palpatine. No, we need something different.
Yes, we do.
Could really some of the gatekeepers that have Yu Zhongwang mix in some Ray, and I think of some YouTubers.
Oh my goodness! I would start a rebellion in itself.
Hey, there's some YouTubers out there that are making a living off of theories, so coming up with ideas and telling people what ideas might be. I don't know.
No, who's more foolish there, Jesse?
All right. So I think I might know the answer to this one. Your favorite piece of Star Wars music?
Oh yeah, you know what it is. It's Duel of the Fates, for sure. Phantom Menace is on a regular on the old music player. And in general, I really do like the Phantom Menace is my favorite soundtrack. But definitely Duel of the Fates. I can hear different variations, metal versions, electronic versions. I love Duel of the Fates. And then I also really like the Imperial March. It's definitely kind of more aggressive, more edgy sort of tone to it. And then and I also like the Mandalorian theme quite a bit. So and the Boba Fett one too. I really did like that. Those. But yeah, Duel of the Fates. Always. I don't know. It's gonna take quite a piece of musical work to overthrow Duel of the Fates.
Again, it's got it all. It's got it all.
It's like, you're here, and you get back up there, and it's like, it's just, I can be happy, upset, working out, sitting at home, doesn't matter. Duel of Fates.
Have you listened to any of Samuel Kim's music? So he's a composer that does a lot of his own sort of versions of existing music. He does a lot of Star Wars, a lot of video games, a lot of other films, but he does a lot of Star Wars, and he does a lot of different versions. There'll be like a medieval, he does like medieval style, so the instrumentation is very much medieval sounding, and then he does like almost samurai inspired Star Wars music, and there's some really, really cool stuff out there. There's some cool versions of Duel of the Fates that you might find interesting.
All right, I'll check it out. I just found it on YouTube, so very nice.
Yeah. That could be a nice little a little path to wander down.
Okay, I love it. I'll definitely check it out. Thank you for the recommendation.
Ian, I appreciate that you always stick to binary sunset. I'd be a little bit iffy if your answer was changing every week. There is a cellist who plays various pop culture themes, but the trick is she plays 6 or 7 parts. Yeah, right. Okay.
I think I may have seen that person, the cellist.
Yeah, wow. Oh, some super talented people out there. It's not fair.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I guess the next bunch of questions, sort of really bringing back toy collecting. I think that's how we sort of introduced to each other through.
Yeah, for sure.
Like just talking about toys. That's what I still do it today, and I still collecting. It's still a very important part. This is a tough one. Do you have a favorite item in your collection?
Yeah, it was. I mean, I always tend to gravitate to my very first item as a collector. And, and it was actually a gift from my wife. I had bought like a few figures when Revenge of the Sith was released back in 2005 from the Revenge of the Sith line, and I remember picking up Boba Fett. That was one of the figures released around that time. I don't know if it was specifically Revenge of the Sith or another line that was kind of going on at the same time, but I didn't get into collecting. I just had a few 6, 7 Jedi and Boba Fett on my desk and whatnot. But when I really got into collecting, that was 2010, and my wife had bought me the Lego Slave one, and then it was all downhill from there. And I just remember getting that set for my birthday, late 2010, and I loved it. I didn't have Lego as a kid, and so being able to get I think it was like an $80 set or so, maybe about six or 700 pieces. It came with Boba Fett, Bosk, I think a Han and Carbonite, and the building experience, and then just the way it looked, and I was like, this is awesome. Then it was just downhill from there. So it kind of holds that, just that sentimental value, I guess, like most of us items tend to be sentimental value. And I tell her, I'm like, this is, it's your fault that this is all behind me, and I tell my wife that, but, and I've gotten newer versions of the Slave one, but that's the one I have on display. That's the one that's out. It really is a good model to begin with. And so that's definitely my favorite piece in the collection for sure.
That's cool. Have you got it on display, or is it sort of something that's had to go stored away?
No, it's on display. So the newer versions that I've gotten, I think there's been I think the last one was 20. I know they had more of a miniature version with from the Mandalorian that was released a couple of years ago. Yeah, I didn't pick up that one because it was smaller, but I picked up the one before it when it was the 20th anniversary. It was like 2019.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. I have that one, but when I was limited on space, I actually put that one in storage, and I kept the 2010 on display only because of that sentimental value. I'm like, it's probably it's a lot of people can say it's like a miniature version of the Ultimate Collector Series one, the one from 2019, and it really is a nice model, but I can't put my 2010, my first item away storage. So that's the one that's on display. I got all the bounty hunters around it, so that's definitely one that's definitely gonna stay on display. As long as it can. Yeah.
Out of all the Lego I've had over the years, I don't have much Lego now. I've sort of moved most of it on. But yeah, that Slave one from 2019 is still one I've got, and I bought there's a lot of people do it now. They do the acrylic sort of stands, the display stands. So I've got it sort of propped up there. It's on my little Boba Fett shelf. The little Boba Fett shrine. So that
nice. I know. I really should get one of those acrylic stands. They look great. I don't know if they have one specifically for the 2010 model, but it'd be nice to get it.
Sure, they would. Someone would. Someone
has to, and it just display it the right way.
Brian's got an answer for the question before from Nicholas. I want to see something along the lines of a child being born that is inherently evil from birth, kind of rising through the ranks of the Jedi, slowly gaining power and trust, only to corrupt the Order. Yeah, that'd be cool.
That would be very cool. Different,
yeah.
Someone, and it's great to see redemption in Star Wars. We saw it with Vader, we saw it with Rand, but it would just be great to see one. I'm just evil. I'm not gonna turn good. You're gonna have to kill me. That'd be pretty cool to see.
Just a terrible, terrible child.
terrible person, child, like that dies. That's the only way to get rid of this threat. We got to kill it. I'm on the side of of good now. Just he's dead or she's dead.
Is there anything in your collection you consider to be unique or unusual?
That was a hard one, because I don't necessarily really, I know a lot of people, like for me, it's mostly just Lego, action figures, and some Hot Wheel stuff. That's basically it. There's nothing, I know some people will collect like cereal boxes and things like that. I haven't really done that, and and that's great for those of you who did. So I pulled a couple items.
I've done that. I've
You got
thrown
serial
it out.
and that's okay.
Look,
You know,
2015 was a dark time. 2015 was a merchandiser's dream. I just went absolutely berserk. I bought body wash. I bought Band-Aids. And yeah, when I sort of set up this room, I sort of opened a bunch of boxes. I'm like, I don't need all this stuff. I had a box of cereal that was, nearly 10 years old. I'm like, no, I don't need to keep this.
Did you try the cereal, Jesse, before you?
No, I didn't. I mean, it probably still would have been fine. The amount of preservatives and stuff, but
knowing cereal, yeah, more than likely. So yeah, I mean, I'll buy things that are Star Wars related, but I'll use them. I'll throw away the packaging or whatever. And my family and friends usually don't tend to get me they'll get me socks and things like that, or T-shirts.
Yeah.
But never like cereal or Band-Aids or anything like that. So I looked through. So there's a couple of things. So I have this. It's not that odd or unusual. It's the Galaxy's Edge thermal detonator Coke bottle.
That's
so
cool.
The Coke's still in there. I didn't even drink it. So it's still pretty heavy, and and I just got it just to keep it. There was
cool.
No interest in, and I got the Diet Coke version because that was my favorite. And then a friend gave me this. They're all pretty much Disney related. This BB-8 Mickey Mouse ear hat thing, and it's got the little swivel head. So, and then the only other thing I was thinking is because when people come to my collection room, besides the fact that they're like, "Oh my God, you have so much stuff," I get a lot of comments on my Jamie Tyndall art, which is basically like, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's like, it takes kind of gender bends various characters in Star Wars and kind of depicts them in a kind of a sexy manner. So
it's a little bit of sort of pin-up sort of style.
Yeah. So I'll get a lot of comments on that, and and
nice.
people are like, "Oh my goodness, that's a little risque." I'm like, but I love it. It's gotta appreciate Star Wars in all its forms. So I really like his art style, and I've picked up quite a few prints and whatnot. So I've been displaying those around the room, and no shame. I'm like, you know what? The kids will come over like, "Oh my God, Uncle Tony, you've got some sexy stuff up there." I'm like, "Yeah, I love it. It's awesome. It's Star Wars, and it's why not?" So he kind of takes it. What's that?
What's the name of the artist?
The artist is Jamie Tyndall, Tyndall. And sometimes he'll run promotions where it's like you get, like, I think they usually sell for about $26, $27 US, but he has a lot of promotions where, especially on Whatnot, where he'll sell like 10 random Star Wars prints for like $40. So it's like $4 a print. Yeah, and then I've gotten from him a couple of times, so he'll make sure I don't get doubles. So I've gotten some other artwork from him, and he doesn't do male characters now that I think about it. It's all females, or it's characters that are male that he gender bends. So and he does like kind of like the retro, the classic sort of, like you were saying, like pinup style, and quite a lot of Sith art. He'll take characters like Leia and represent them as a Sith character. What would Leia be as a Sith? It's pretty cool. So I really enjoy his artwork.
Was there a Darth Talon up there?
Yes, there was. So let me see. I'm trying to there.
Yeah.
And Leia. So he's done Talon, and he's done an Inquisitor. The one next to Talon's an Inquisitor.
Yep.
And then there's Leia up above as a Jedi, and then like TIE pilot, X-wing pilot, Han.
Awesome.
He's done the Mandalorian, Ahsoka, quite a few characters, and he'll be probably doing a May the 4th sale, so I'm pretty excited about that. See what I can get, just to keep adding.
Awesome.
Try to add some more artwork. I don't have a lot of artwork. I'm just not big on artwork, but I really like his style, and he does other characters: Spider-Man, DC. I have a few of his Spider-Man. Venom. I have a few of his Venom prints. I just don't have the room to display. It's just nice to have.
Yeah, I know someone that would very much love the Darth Talon, so I'm gonna have a look at. I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah. So he's got couple images of Dark Talent, and he has different backgrounds to it. So he'll like, pose different backgrounds. That one just has it's like TIE interceptors in the background. So it's pretty cool. Yeah. So definitely
that is cool. Yeah, I would say they're pretty unique items. They
are, different, for Star Wars. It's definitely not toys or Lego or action figures. It's
still nice to look at. Still nice to.
It is, I can chill here, and my wife's cool with it. Daughter's like, "Oh, Dad," but it's my man cave. No kids, no problems. So it's like, I can display it if I want, and so I really like those, and I've recently gotten these, so that's a newer item, definitely for sure. And
awesome.
So and then that was pretty much it. So those few items there. I'm hoping to get more things at Galaxy's Edge next time I go. I have the little Sarlacc. No, not the what's it called? The card game? Not Sarlacc.
Sabacc.
Sabacc. I have a deck of Sabacc cards in the little packaging I haven't opened. Those are the kinds of things I do like picking up from Galaxy's Edge, just because they're a little different, a little unique.
That's cool. Is there anything in your collection you don't have that you'd love to add? You'd love to put on display? I mean, just as long as most of our arms, I'm sure. Like my eBay watch list is just.
There's quite a few things, but most of them are just too pricey. I think when it comes down to it, it's that the mighty dollar, XR Kun and Ulic Keldrama, the Star Wars action figure comic pack. Now, I remember when I first started collecting, that was probably around like 150 or something like that. And I was just like, there's no way I was going to pay 150 for something like that back then when I first started collecting. Yeah. And now it's like $900,000, brand new.
I remember thinking the same thing. Yeah, it was 10 plus years ago. I was thinking that this thing was $200 for a 2-pack, and I was just like, no way am I ever going to pay that. And yeah, like yourself, it's now, they're selling for, 1,200 Australian dollars, which is probably, 800 or 900 US.
Yep. And I would gladly pay $150 now for that 2-pack. So, oh yeah. So, I mean, when it comes to like Sith characters, those are the only two that I'm missing. Well, XR Kun and for the most part, but that's pretty much, I have every other Sith character in 3 3/4 inch figure form except for him. So, and then for Lego, it was a set, the Republic dropship with ATOT. I don't know if you know that one. It was from 2011 Clone Wars one with the
with like the lander with the ATT underneath it.
Yes, exactly. And I always really liked that set when I first saw it. I think it was like $250 back in the day, but at that time, since like I said, I just started collecting, I wasn't going to drop $250 on a Lego set, and I ended up doing that years later with the Death Star, if not more, and I've done it. But I just, at that time, I wasn't going to. And now that also retails like around $1,000 used. So it's a beautiful looking set, and definitely one that I really, really like. I mean, there's other little things that I feel are obtainable, certain Jedi characters, certain Lego sets. But when I think of the XR Kun comic pack and the Lego ATOT and dropship, those are like, lottery kind of things. Maybe when I retire and I've got money to spare.
Yeah. There's the other 2-pack is the big 2-pack that I would have loved to have gotten is it was the Master Thom and Tirasar.
Oh, yeah. Don't have that one.
That's another one that's heftily priced now. Even the two individual Jason Janus solo figures from the Legacy collection, and the Crook.
The Crook is another one I don't have.
Yeah.
Some of the Jedi, like Tardos gone. He's not too expensive, but he's up there for a figure.
He's up there, yeah.
Yeah, and the Kanis Tasu, was that his name?
From the 2-packs, yeah.
Was he in a 2-pack as well?
Yeah.
And then
that was one of the 2-packs that I was able to get. So he's one of the Jedi.
Oh, you do have that one. Oh no! So those are a few of the Jedi that I don't. Kit Fisto from the Vintage Collection I don't have. He's like 100, 110 now, brand new or even used. He goes up there. Like I have the one from the Revenge of the Sith line, So there's most of them are Jedi that are that I would love to have in my 3 3/4 inch line, and then I was able to pick up most clones, which I was very happy about when I was, because you know me, I've been into clones, so I picked up quite a few of them for really cheap, and now clones are just up there. So I'm really happy I was able to at least get clones when I first started collecting. Just got to work on my Jedi.
I'm just reading Ian's comment. He bought an extra copy of The Art of Star Wars: The Last Jedi, so I can make poster-sized collar. That's a really good idea, especially if you can find the book dirt cheap. You just carefully extract some pages and you've got yourself some hangable artwork. Really nice idea.
Yeah.
The most I spent on Star Wars Lego is £5.25. The Star Wars Lego magazine over here, which comes usually with a movie.
It's a good investment.
It is. It just proves that we should just buy the stuff we want when it comes out.
Yep.
You look at it later. Like I was bummed out with the Palace that I just got this week. Like, yeah, it took an extra 6 months after it came out to get it, but it's so worth it. But yeah, when it went up for pre-order, because it wasn't a Hasbro Pulse thing here, but it was it was still an exclusive to EB Games Zing Pop Culture here in Australia, and when it went up for pre-order, I just wasn't in the financial situation to be able to put a deposit down for it. So I just kind of like, I'll let it go. If one pops up later, I'll grab it. And I had to pay a little bit more, but it wasn't too much. But they're the kind of things just like, yeah, just gotta jump on it.
You do. That's what I tend to do now, and I tend to think to myself, what things should I pre-order that will probably be difficult to find in stores or get online later, and try to my crystal ball and whatnot, and that seems to work. And then it's like if the next HasLab is the Cantina, which like I said, I don't usually do play sets with Hasbro, but if they do a Cantina, I'm pre-ordering regardless. I'm hoping it's a Cantina because I have a few aliens. That's definitely something I would love in my collection, and I'm not gonna hesitate. That would be my first HasLab if they do that I would end up backing.
I get the feeling that's where it's going to be this time. We'll find out in about 3 weeks, but yes. Yeah, I'm looking at the Palace, and then I'm looking over at my Cantina, which I've just got the Power of the Force cardboard one.
Yes.
That needs some freshening up. That does.
Yeah. I will jump on that one in a heartbeat for sure.
And I like the idea that they could, then release like little room modules as like a play set. There's like a TVC play set. You could buy like a room that you could just sort of slot onto the main. You get the main room with the bar.
Yes.
With little alcoves, and then you can add the alcoves to it later. I love that idea.
That would be great. Yeah, and then as releasing new figures with some bar stools like they did back in the day, with some cups, little things like that, to just continue building that scene. That would be awesome. So I'm definitely gonna hopefully. Yeah, I think you're right with the clues that they've dropped. I'm thinking it is going to be the Cantina. So we'll see how much it costs.
Yeah. They also did destroy the Havoc Marauder on Bad Batch, so it could be that ship.
They blew up the Razor Crest. We got it. They blew up the Havoc Marauder. Yeah. That will be the next one. I wouldn't do it on that ship, but I would definitely back up a Cantina.
Yeah, definitely. And so as much as I would love the Cantina, I would love a Marauders. That might be the only way to get the rest of the Bad Batch. Yeah, they have said they're going to do the rest of the Bad Batch. It's just how they're going to sprinkle them out. And, the fact that they've only done Hunter is, it's almost just put them out and be done with it, Just do it.
Why not?
Just put them out there, Hasbro. Just do it. You're not hurting anyone.
It's been too long. It should have been done by now. But then, we haven't gotten bays in TVC, and it's been years.
Yeah.
Little things like that. It's great that they're finally doing, because I didn't back up the Ghosts. So I was really excited about some of the recent Rebels, release.
Yeah.
So I was really pumped for that because, I was like, I hope they do. Yeah. 10 years later, we're going to get some.
Brian says I could never find the Daft Neil comic 2-pack. Yeah, that's a good one. I do like that figure.
Yes, that one I definitely have.
I did break his lightsaber, so I had to glue the blade in recently. Just
I think the same thing
fell off the shelf.
Yep.
You know, he's got that sort of. I've got him right here.
Yeah,
that sort of long sort of staff. But yeah, I had to. The blade sort of snapped off, so I had to glue that on.
To me, that's one of the worst things that can happen in your collections when a lightsaber breaks, and it's happened 2 times for me, and it always breaks my heart. And I'm always so tempted to go online and just find a replacement, because gluing it on just for me, it's like I don't want to glue it back on. And so with some I have replaced, and others I just, they're just too expensive. Like Darth Nihil, I think the same thing happened to mine if I remember correctly. So I was like, nope, I'm gonna have to glue it on. There's no way I'm gonna find this loose for a good price.
Yeah, it almost feels sacrilege, like gluing it back in, but it's still not losing any value to me personally. So like, I don't plan on selling it, so that doesn't degrade any cost of it. So yeah, it's not a big deal. Same. They even have reuse built in with the changes in armor deco from later seasons. Absolutely. And Tim's here. Hey Tim, hope you're doing well. But yeah, we've got one more question for the.
All right.
Which is one, yeah. For about the last 4 episodes, I've had a little note here saying rework this question, and I haven't done it yet. What is it about Star Wars memorabilia you think is important to fans? But more so, what I want to ask is what is important about it to you, and what does it add to your life?
So, and I understand why you want to rework it, because most people tend to give similar answers, and I think I'm in the same boat as well with the nostalgia and whatnot. It's not necessarily, for me, it's not necessarily a sense of childhood. It's definitely my favorite fandom, and it's a visual expression, in my opinion. Being able to collect Star Wars collectibles and being able to have it on display, it is a visual expression of something that I really, really enjoy. I really, really love, and it's a big part of my life. Like you said before, there's not a day that goes by that we're not thinking Star Wars in one shape or another. And to have it there visually in front of me, and to be able to immerse myself, on a regular daily basis, and really just become part of that Star Wars world. Star Wars is not going to happen, at least not in our lifetime. And it's not a real thing. But to be able to just kind of have, these collectibles, these items near you, you really feel like I'm immersing myself a bit into it. I can immerse myself a bit into it. I'm bringing it to life, in plastic form. That's what I'm doing. I'm taking something I love that I see on the television, and I'm bringing it to life here. I can, if I'm watching Phantom Menace and I want to be able to have Darth Maul in my hand and reach over and grab a Darth Maul, Lego 6-inch form, whatever, So, and for me to have that and to be able to see it on a regular basis, there's that, just the endorphins and whatnot. You just feel good. It's there, and I think the other part is that as a child, I was into Ninja Turtles and I was into a lot of things, and, but funds were limited. I have adult money. So that's the other part of being able to really, like I can have it. So why not? Why not indulge myself in one of my favorite things? And it's a pastime. It really is. It's something I enjoy taking pictures of, building, playing with, displaying, even dusting it. As much of a chore as that is, just be able to look through my collection, change it up a bit, as I'm dusting, and just admire things. And I haven't looked at this in a while, so yeah. So it really is, and there is some nostalgia to it. But like I said, I didn't start watching until I was like 18 or 19. But yeah, so that's it.
I think nostalgia's there no matter how old you were. Like it's indicative of a time period of your life that was, you look back and go, you remember those days of probably late high school, early college years.
Yep.
For you, it's something to look back on and remember those times. It's sort of a bookmark, I suppose.
Yes, good. I mean, it was really good times, and You know, one of my favorite memories is I can't remember who bought it. It may have been my family, my mom. They bought me the VHS, the special edition VHS in the gold, box,
Yep.
And then I remember they had put it in the fridge, and then they were like, "Go get something." They told me like, "Tony, can you get something from the fridge?" I'm like, "Sure, why not?" It was like birthday or something, and I looked in, and then I was like, "Oh my god!" I was super excited. I was like pumped. One of my memories that always sticks. I wish I still had that. I don't, unfortunately. But yeah, that's just it brings good memories for sure. And especially some of my Revenge of the Sith figures, like I was telling you, that I got back in 2005, which has been almost 20 years now. To be able to pick up my Boba Fett and my Saga collection one from back then, it's like some good memories for sure.
That's cool. So last couple of questions. What are you most looking forward to in the future of Star Wars?
I look forward to everything. I'm not going to complain about what we get. Give me as much Star Wars as you can give me. I'm definitely looking forward to the Acolyte, Skeleton Crew. I'm looking forward to the video games like Outlaw and whatnot. I'm looking forward to the Mandalorian Grogu movie, Rey. I look forward to everything, especially when it comes to video games and television and movies. I haven't been able to keep up with the comics or the books as much as I would like. But definitely, like, as I mentioned before, I'm really hoping that we get something with Asajj Ventress, animated, live action, whatever. I definitely don't. I mean, it'd be great if it was on television or in the movie theaters, but I'd be happy with more books, more, whatever comics, novels or whatnot. But I'm hoping we will get it. I know we will. So I'm really looking forward to Asajj stuff.
Yeah, I feel like we're going to get something Asajj centric, or at least, with the end of the Bad Batch in a couple of weeks. I don't think that's it for Star Wars animation. Like, I know we've got the Tales of the Empire. That's just going to be a short little series. But I don't know. I feel like they're going to jump to the next thing. What's we've had Clone Wars, we've had Rebels, we've had Bad Batch. What's next? I think they're already looking ahead of what's coming. And they've said as much about Ventress. At this point in time, she was, up until Bad Batch, she was assumed dead after Dark Disciple. And they said no. Her appearance is very much in line with the book, and you'll find out sooner how that's
Yeah, she's got 9 lives apparently.
Yeah. I don't mind waiting.
No, I do not.
I'm both looking forward to and dreading the Bad Batch finale. Me too, Ian. Yeah. No, I think it's going to be a bit. It's going to hit hard. I think. Expecting the feels.
Oh goodness, yes. When is it? It's May? Oh no, right before May 4th, right?
Yeah, I May the 1st, I think.
May 1st, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I like your optimistic look forward to everything, and then you can make an informed choice on whether you enjoy something or not, rather than Facebook.
Yes.
Hating stuff before they've seen it,
that makes me sad too, Jesse. All these people complaining and nipping before you watch something, read something, gotta be open about things. I don't know.
Yeah. Make your own decisions.
Exactly.
After the fact, yeah.
After the fact. Don't be foolish.
Like to see Clone Wars style animation featuring the Knights of Ren. Yeah. Yep. Definitely. So, just to sort of sum up, what has been? We've probably pretty much covered what it is, but what does Star Wars and being a Star Wars fan mean to you? You pretty much covered that before.
Yeah.
Sort of saying, it's that nostalgia. It's something that keeps you, inspired, and
definitely a pastime. It's a hobby, a sense of bewilderment, and it's just also being able to connect with people. It is about the connections that one makes. Be able to talk to you so many years later, and being able to meet quite a few people from YouTube over the years, and even meeting people here in Sacramento that are local to me who I met on YouTube first. I see on a regular basis now, and be able to attend cons and just have that interaction with other people. We have this.
You still catch up and hang out frequently with Charles.
Charles, Charles, I see all the time.
He's been around for a long time. He's been doing YouTube for a long time.
Yeah, he's been doing YouTube for a very long time, and and that's how we first met. And Scab Cat, another Sacramento native, he would do some Star Wars stuff back in the day, and I see him here and there, and it's great. I've met other people, Darth Joker Fett, and just I've been able to meet quite a few people, and especially those who live in Northern California, and then just meeting more people. I've done Star Wars trivia nights. I've done bar crawls that are Star Wars themed, and just being able to interact with other people who have that same love of Star Wars that I do. Because I don't have that with my family or even coworkers or even most of my friends too. Not so much into Star Wars. So I think that's a big part of it too, building those relationships.
Yeah, I think that's why I find myself so lucky these days. Is I've got that at work, where I work, in a place called Kessel Run.
Yes. And you're surrounded by Star Wars collectibles as well at work.
Exactly. It's like going to a second home every day and talking to different people, and not everyone that comes into the salon are Star Wars fans, but a lot of them are, and a lot of them are ready to. People that aren't, they're curious about it. They're sort of like, oh, what's the sort of inspiration for this, and you get to sort of explain it and how it makes you feel and what it makes you think, and share ideas, and it's just, I don't know, it makes work feel less like work.
Yes. Well, I would be there in a heartbeat if something like that existed around my area. I cut my own hair, but if it was Star Wars themed, I'd be like, all right, I'm going every time.
Yeah. Don't worry, I cut my own hair now too. I haven't got any hair to cut, so I just keep it nice and shiny.
There you go. I love it. I know. I just take the blade and all around. That's it.
Yeah, nice and easy. So what are your plans for the remainder of the weekend?
Not much. It was raining all day here in Northern California. Tomorrow's gonna be a chill day, and I was actually I wanted to get tickets. I was telling you about Alpha Wolf, and they sold out. That's what I get for lagging. Oh, nice. So I got some tickets to some other shows that are coming up soon. So I was like, I'm gonna make sure I get my tickets before they sell out. But I was going back and forth, and I was, you know what? Let's go see them. It's pretty cheap, to watch certain bands here in Sacramento. And but no, they sold out, so it'll be a pretty chill day, and then on Monday I go back to work. So
the Alpha Wolf, they're relentless at touring at the moment, so I doubt you'll have to wait long before they'll be back.
Oh for sure, and they're a relatively newish band, so I know I'll have another opportunity.
Yeah, what are you listening to at the moment?
I'm listening to a little bit of everything. So I bought tickets to see Spite and Body Snatcher. I'm not sure if you're familiar with those bands.
I've heard Body Snatcher, I think.
Yeah, and Spite's pretty good. So I think if you like Alpha Wolf, you would like Spite. Similar genre. And then what else? Today, Arcspire aborted. More of a death metal, type bands. Okay. But, I listened to. I saw your Make Them Suffer Epitaph. You had the new song out, so I went and listened to some songs that I like by them today. I was listening to that. I was like, oh, I haven't heard Make Them Suffer in a while. So I put that on, and along with some other deathcore type bands. And, like we mentioned, Black Dahlia, Arch Enemy, Suicide Silence. I really go, when it comes to metal, I like all genres of metal. It's very broad, and then I was listening to some hip hop. My daughter likes hip hop, and I've introduced her to some people, and some Rico Nasty. So I can go really kind of back and forth, but always metal when it comes down to it. So that's what I've been listening to nowadays. There you go. Metal Jedi might know Spite. I don't know if you listen to Spite, Metal Jedi. Gotta let us know. So definitely recommend Spite for sure.
Architects dropped a new song a few days ago as well. That's a wicked song called
What is it?
Architects got a new song called Curse.
Architects. I have not heard. I've heard of Architects. I haven't heard their music yet.
Yeah, they're very much similar. They've been around for quite a while now. I'm not super familiar with a lot of their stuff, but it's just one that sort of floated under my radar a little bit. But listening to the new songs, I'm like, I definitely recall some of their songs over the years. But another band that I haven't seen
for a while. It's been, I think, I've been listening to metal, especially metal, for a very long time, but there's really been like a resurgence of really good bands recently, in my opinion, especially like the last year and a half. Just a lot of good bands, or at least bands that weren't really on my radar before. They're, dropping newer albums that I'm like, wow, this is actually really good. So there's so much out there right now. So, it's really just trying to, listen to as much as I can, and it's hard when you got Spotify, and it's like to find the time, but little by little.
Yeah, it's like I have a very short commute to work now, so it's kind of like I've probably got time for about 2 or 3 songs before I get to work. Sometimes I'll just play the same song 3 or 4 times,
and there you go.
I'm good, but,
it's 30 minutes.
I need to get some headphones. I've just taken up rollerblading, so I'm gonna get some headphones to just go out for a skate and just listen to some tunes and do stuff like that. I tend to, when I come into my room, I tend to just sort of hang out and I'll listen to an audio book or a Star Wars podcast or whatever I'm listening to. I tend not to tune into music too much while I'm in here, but it is.
Yeah, I mean, I do get quite a few opportunities. Like about hour commute for me, half an hour one way, half another. When I go to the gym, another hour of being able to listen to music. And for me, sometimes just putting on music videos on YouTube, a little whiskey, a beer, put on some good videos in the background, and Pale Face Swiss. I was watching them the other day. I don't know if you've heard of them. So it's like, it just, there's some good bands out there and good music, and and just we get a lot of shows in Sacramento, and they're usually pretty cheap. I don't know how much a concert would cost in Australia, but usually about $30 a ticket here for bands like Alpha Wolf, things like that. And they're small venues too. So, if I wanted to see Taylor Swift, you're paying hundreds of dollars in a big arena. And that's the other reason I really like listening to metal. It's a small venue. It's very intimate. I was able to meet the lead singer of Soulfly like a couple months ago.
Awesome.
He's my favorite musician. He sang for Sepultura. And once again, small venue, $30. I paid $100 for a meet and greet. I went on the tour bus, met him and his brother. Yeah, I got a vinyl sign. I know, and it was just like, I don't think I would have been able to do that had I, my favorite artist or someone who was more mainstream, bigger, more than likely not. So, but that was really cool. So, that's one. I think
most sort of standard shows here, like without going into an arena or an entertainment center, sort of around, anywhere between sort of $45 to $70 or $80, for like a bigger bar. If it's like a small bar with, you might be looking at $30, $20 or $30.
Yeah. That's pretty much it.
And I got the last ticket I got was second last ticket I got for Parkway Driver doing a tour in September down here, and that was $150. But they're playing the Adelaide Entertainment Centre, which is probably one of the bigger venues in the city. So it's I haven't seen Parkway Drive for a long time, so I need to go see it. So
there you go. No, that's exciting. I got tickets for Korn. I love Korn, and I haven't seen them in years. And it was $100, which a little more expensive, but still doable. $100 to go see Korn, and they're going to be with Spirit Box, and I really like them, and so I'm excited to see them for the first time and see Korn again. So Max Cavalera, there you go. Yeah, I got a picture on Instagram that I took with him and his brother Igor. So that's up there. Yeah. But you know, I was like, oh, I can do $100 easy. So see corn, and they're a little bit more, you know, they're bigger naturally. It's corn.
Yeah.
You know, I was like $100. That's totally worth it. So
yeah, that's awesome. Oh, I think we'll wrap up. I appreciate you taking a couple of hours out of your evening to come and hang out and chat. It's been great catching up with you again. We'll definitely have to make it a little bit more frequently. But
yes, agreed.
I'd love to do a good group chat session at some point. Get a few people together and do a bit more of a group chat at some stage. I reckon that'd be fun. And just talk about whatever. Just talk about whatever.
I love it. I said, let's do it. So I need to get myself out. I need to get myself on YouTube a little bit more. You know, I've got some videos on from work, and I'm like, yeah, that's fine, but I want to do some Star Wars stuff.
Yeah. Make a return, make a soft return, and just.
I gotta make a soft return. I'm with you. I just, you know, nowadays it's like you got just the content. That's the only thing now. You know, we've got gentlemen like yourselves and Boss Bounty who really take care of our TVC needs. You know, and we've got a couple people with the Black Series. So, you know, it'd be great to make a return, but really try to do something different. We'll see. I'll have to think about it.
Yeah, I just try to do my own thing personally. Like I have fun doing what I want to do. So that's why I don't get bored doing it. Otherwise, you know, if I wasn't enjoying it, I probably wouldn't be putting out 4 or 5 videos a week. So
exactly,
and doing these live streams. But you know, this is probably the main reason why I do it, is to get to talk to people. And it's make connections with people. So it's adding friends to my friends list, so I can look like I'm popular on Facebook. So yeah, people obviously can find you on Instagram, and if you want to go check out some of Tony's older videos. How long's it been since you've done anything on YouTube? That'd be quite a few years now, wouldn't it?
It has to be at least probably from 5 or 6. I would say it's probably been about 6-7 years.
Yeah,
6 or 7 years, I would say. Probably I started in 2012. I want to say 2017, maybe 2018. You know, is the last time I did something. So it's been a while, but you know, like I said, my videos still get some good traction. So if anyone's watching, see some old reviews on 3 3/4 action figures, you know, they're up there.
Still a rich catalog of videos there to go check out.
Oh yeah, I definitely did a lot. You know, especially with Sith and clones and just a wide range, mostly modern. You know, is what I did. So a lot of just kind of mostly 2005 and up to 20 whatever that was. You know, because I remember I did a few Black Series reviews, and that was what 20. What was Black Series released?
13.
13? Oh, it was only just a year later. Oh my God, it's been a while then. Well then, yeah. So I started in 2012. So I do have a few Black Series, and I know that, but mostly 3 3/4 inch. So definitely check it out. And on Instagram, DARTHPHOENIX619 as well. I definitely post a lot more on there than I do anywhere else. So
it's easy. Instagram's easy.
It is, snap a picture, put some up in. It's a great way to just kind of keep track of things too that I pick up. So yeah. Definitely a lot easier. And I'm private on there, so just feel free to send me a request and I'll accept you. No problem.
Do it. Oh, thank you again. Appreciate it. We'll chat again soon. Thanks for everyone for coming out and hanging out in the chat. It's always fun getting a bit of feedback and questions and having some good fun like that. Haven't got any more booked in at the moment, but I do have 2 folks lined up. I think one we're going to be looking at early June, I think, and trying to squeeze in another good long-time YouTube friend, Owen. You remember Owen? Looking forward to having a chat with him. It's been too long. But yeah, we'll keep posted on Instagram and stuff like that, and I'll make sure it's all shared when I get things locked in. Just been a little bit slack lately, but we'll get back on top of it. But yeah, we'll see you next time. And may the force be with you.